On the 13th of March, 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was stabbed to death outside her apartment building in New York City. The attack lasted over half an hour. Her attacker left, came back, and stabbed her again. She screamed for help. She called out to her neighbors by name. 38 people heard her. Not one of them called the police until it was over. When investigators asked why, the answers were almost identical across all 38 witnesses. They all said the same thing. They assumed someone else had already called. That assumption killed Kitty Genovese, and it has killed thousands of people since. Because what happened outside that apartment building in Queens was not a failure of individual morality. It was the first documented case of something that psychologists would spend the next 60 years trying to understand. Something that lives inside every human brain on the planet, including yours. It is called the bystander effect, and once you understand how it works, you will never look at a crowd the same way again. Here is the core finding. The more people who witness an emergency, the less likely any single one of them is to help. Not slightly less likely, dramatically less likely. In 1968, social psychologists John Darley and Bib Latani ran a series of experiments at Columbia University that would become some of the most cited studies in the history of psychology. In one version, a participant was placed in a room and told they were going to have a discussion with other students via intercom. One of those students, actually a recording, began having what sounded like a seizure. When the participant believed they were the only person who could hear it, they left to get help 85% of the time. When they believed 5 other people could also hear it, that number dropped to 31%. Same emergency, same sounds, same person. The only variable was how many other people were also watching. The presence of others made people less likely to act, not because they were cruel, not because they did not care, but because of 2 very specific psychological mechanisms that activate automatically in group situations. The first is called diffusion of responsibility. When you are alone and something goes wrong, the entire weight of that situation falls on you. You must act or nobody will. But the moment other people are present, that weight gets distributed. Spread across the group, each person feels less personally responsible because each person assumes someone else will step in. The responsibility diffuses, and in diffusing, it disappears entirely. The second mechanism is called pluralistic ignorance. In an ambiguous situation, humans do not react immediately. We look around. We watch other people's reactions to decide how serious the situation actually is. And here is the trap. Every single person in that crowd is doing the exact same thing. Everyone is looking at everyone else to gauge the appropriate response. And because everyone is trying to appear calm, everyone looks calm. So everyone else interprets that collective calmness as evidence that the situation is not serious. The group convinces itself, through shared inaction, that there is nothing to act on, even when there clearly is. These 2 mechanisms do not require bad people. They require only one thing: a group. And the larger the group, the stronger both effects become. But here is what makes the bystander effect genuinely terrifying. It does not feel like inaction. From the inside, it feels entirely rational. Your brain is not registering paralysis. It is registering social intelligence. You are reading the room. You are avoiding overreaction. You are being reasonable. And you are almost certainly wrong. Because what your brain is actually doing is offloading moral responsibility onto the people around you, who are doing the exact same thing to you, while your collective inaction creates the very social signal that reassures everyone that no action is needed. It is a closed loop, self-reinforcing, and invisible from the inside. The research on how to break the loop is clear. The bystander effect can be defeated by a single intervention: specificity. If you are ever in an emergency in a crowd, do not shout for help in general. Do not appeal to the crowd. Pick one person. Make eye contact. Point directly at them. And say these exact words.
You, in the red jacket, call an emergency service right now. The moment you assign responsibility to a specific individual, the diffusion collapses. That person can no longer assume someone else will act. This is the only known reliable way to defeat the bystander effect in real time, and it works. There is something deeply uncomfortable about all of this. It means that the most dangerous place to have a medical emergency is not an empty street, it is a crowded one. And it means that Kitty Genovese did not die because 38 people were monsters. She died because 38 people were human, each one waiting for someone else to be the one who acted. Each one held back by the invisible weight of the group, each one certain, in the moment, that they were being reasonable. The bystander effect is not a character flaw, it is an architecture, built into the way human minds process social information under uncertainty. And like most architectures, it is invisible until you know what to look for. Now you know what to look for.